Hello everyone and welcome into the channel. My name is Brent and in today's video we want to do a quick snapshot of the markets here on Thursday after the bloodbath of this morning and aftermarket Wednesday's tariff effect. So with that said, if you guys are brand new here, definitely go down below, give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like, and let's go ahead and get into it. So Wednesday the market was fairly positive. The Dow Jones moved up 0.56%. The Nasdaq 0.87, the S&P 500 0.67 on believes that tariffs would not be as bad as they had initially been planned for. There was some chatter that there would be initially a 10% tariff implemented as a baseline, which was less than the full effect of tariffs that people had been expecting, making the market move higher on Wednesday. On Wednesday after hours, the full list of countries hit with tariffs came out, and we did see the chatter once again that the president would import a 10% baseline of 10% baseline all in imports. Now, there was another chart that was held up soon after that would show that the U.S. would impose impose a 34% tariff on China, 20% tariff on European goods, and so on and so on. Eventually, the full list went out and became public, showing that there's a ton of countries on this. I believe there was 60 or it was quite a few. Let me see here if I get the full amount here. Well, here we can see the full list of countries hit with tariffs. There's China at 34, European at 20, Vietnam at 46. Now, there's some ones in here that I was looking at that are extremely high, 49%. So Cambodia and such. So they got hit with some pretty high tariffs. This list just goes on and on. And you can see that even countries out there, Aruba, interesting, got hit with a 10% tariff. So as they said, there would be a 10% flat tariff hit against anybody and then go from there. So as people said on after hours, President Trump had announced a new tariff on Wednesday. Chronic trade deficits are a national emergency. And when this was announced, there was a huge move to the downside. Several trillion, was it? I think it was trillions dollars. I didn't get the full, I didn't see the full amount after hours that the market had lost there, but it was several percentages points. I believe the S&P was down 3% in the after hours. I think I'd posted about it on Instagram, but maybe not. We'll look at that later. So here, yeah, stock market plunged after hours. There we go. It says right here. After hours, the S&P 500 fell 2.47%. The Dow Jones dropped 1.37%, and the Nasdaq sank a whopping 3.45%. Now, we take a look at the markets today, and it is very, very red out there. The only indexes or the only sectors that are pretty positive, we saw healthcare plans. Let me see if this thing can hurry up and refresh, and defensive consumers. So there we go. Healthcare plans, everyone had a heart attack today. Looking at the markets open. So, of course, healthcare plans are pretty positive on the day. We also saw some consumer defensives such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Colgate, Procter & Gamble. Everyone's out there with Philip Morris, that tobacco, on this day kind of de-stressing. What we did see, the Magnificent Seven all affected pretty big. Microsoft the least affected here, which was interesting, but they're down pretty big year to date in comparison to the others out there. So Nvidia down nearly 7, Apple down nearly 9, Google 3.24, Meta 6.97, Amazon took a really hard hit here at 8.11. Apple and Amazon, obviously they import a lot of different things. Amazon maybe not so much, but Apple, they import quite a bit of electronics from China. So they got the blunt end of the stick here, down 8.86%. If I go back this way, I don't know, it was this one right here. There we go. This one right here, we did see that we start off already low. We did trend here within the S&P 500. We trended down to 540 on the SPY. But we did see a little bit of a pop up here recently. So we are finding a bottom out from September lows of 2024. So right now the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq found support levels from back in September of 2024. So if I took a look at the S&P 500 and we go back until September of 2024, we can see that the S&P 500 was at $540.36. So from right now, we seem to have found a bottoming out at the moment, but as we saw, there'll be more. The full effect of tariffs will actually go into full effect. If I can find that date. So April 5th was going to be, let me go ahead and just do a search. Okay, here we go. So what happens next? The 25% tariffs on all foreign-made automobiles will take effect today on April 3rd. The 10% baseline will take effect on April 5th, which is Saturday, Sunday, depending on areas of the country, the world. And then additional tariffs will kick in on April 9th, which is next Wednesday. So right now, in the short term, we found support levels at September 2024 lows. Right now, from top to bottom, well, S&P 500 was at $612.93. It's now at $540. The S&P 500 has lost roughly a 12.65% to the dip as far as from top to bottom, putting us into correction territory. Now, if we take a look at what could potentially happen next Wednesday, as the market continues to fumble, those full effect of tariffs kick in, we could see the S&P 500 drop to 520, 517, which from, I put in here in the calculator 520, which could be a 16.4% down to the downside from top to bottom, or could potentially be even high as 17, 18% if it drops down into $517 range. Okay, 17%. So anywhere we could see the bottoming out period, roughly 16% to 16 to 17% for the S&P 500. Right now, we're kind of holding at those September lows, but once again, as the tariffs go into full effect next Wednesday and we have retaliation from other countries, we could see the S&P 500 and the other indexes push as low as, past September lows. So right now, as you said earlier, the Dow Jones is also trading near September 2024 lows. From top to bottom, you can see right here. But if it does go even lower than that, 386 would be kind of the next support for the Dow Jones. The Nasdaq, taking a look at the 1 year, it fell to 540. Again, if we look at those September 2024 lows, it was roughly 448, 450. When I punch this into the calculator, I put 454 here. So from highs of 539 to currents of 554, the Nasdaq is down roughly 17% from top to bottom. And if the Nasdaq does not hold here at 455, yeah, it's actually popped up since I've been watching. If it doesn't hold right, and these tariffs that go into effect next Wednesday and other counter tariffs that go into effect, we could see the Nasdaq plummet down to 435. In the $435 range, that would put the Nasdaq down nearly, over 21%. Basically, kind of a crash there for the Nasdaq if it takes place. Big correction, for the Nasdaq there if it takes place. So this is something that I will be eyeing for the next week. Will be tariffs kicking in, how the market handles it, how other countries handle it. Bitcoin itself over the last day has dropped down pretty substantial, right? It was trading at 87,000. It's gone down 6%, sitting at 81,000 right now and some change. So it is an interesting day here today on Thursday. We saw the S&P 500 break below those recent lows, actually hit those September lows as we kind of chatted about. And it is making a bit of a recovery to the upside, but this is all temporary on Thursday. We could see Friday it dip even further, or even Saturday, Sunday, it could open up negative on Monday just because of those tariffs kicking in over the weekend. And then Wednesday, as the full tariffs go into effect, we could see the market tumble even further. So I thought this was an interesting meme that I saw out there. So buy the dip. Everyone's saying buy the dip, but with what? Everyone's been buying this dip as the market's been dipping and dipping and dipping. And A lot of investors are just kind of holding steady at the moment, kind of waiting. I myself, I'm waiting to see what exactly will take place on Monday. Monday and Wednesday will be the biggest kind of drivers to what's going to happen in the market. Right now, I don't think it's the best idea to make any money moves. Obviously, if you're shorting the market, that could be positive. You're buying, some inverse ETFs there. If you're thinking that the market will go down further here in the short term, that could be interesting. But right now, I'm just kind of holding steady because I don't believe we will have much upside to move at the moment. And I do see more downside potential in the next week versus upside potential. So let me know down in the comment section below, what are your guys' thoughts? Are you guys buying today, this week? Are you waiting until next week? Or are you just kind of waiting to see how this all pans out going forward? So yeah, there we go. That is what I wanted to cover in today's quick video. Oh yeah, we can see here the NASDAQ dropped now down into the 5% range. So let me take a quick look at my notes here because I did have notes pulled up. So earlier in the day, the Dow Jones was down 3.39, so it has popped up a bit. The Nasdaq was down 5.27, so it's actually popped up a bit here recently here, and S&P was down 4.06. So it's all kind of popped up. I believe it's kind of finding a bottoming out period for the time being. But as I said, we'll see on Monday open and Wednesday. So that's it. If you guys have any other thoughts, ideas for what could potentially be coming up in the near future, let me know down in the comment section below. Otherwise, I do appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Be sure to go down below, give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.